Clyde Marwick, Group HR Director for Baxters Food Group, a Scottish family business, but a large kind of international global operation as well. So you will deal with, I'm sure, a whole host of different talent challenges. So as you think about the sort of post-pandemic economy, what's your advice for building agility into your talent acquisition activities?
Yeah, thanks, Ken, and thanks for the opportunity. I mean, I think, we've been through a very interesting growth phase over the last year, very fortunately, and we've had to really change the way we operate in not being able to access various folk. We've continued to recruit quite significantly, and that has changed the way we've done things. And I think, for me, around being agile is just effectively, it's got to be business normal. If you're not being agile, you're just not going to be competitive out in the marketplace. And I think there's some key things that have maybe resonated with me over the last year, certainly in terms of doing things differently. And I think the first thing is really making sure you're tailoring your, to the needs of the candidate. It's not a, template from HR that you're going to stick to. I think the other thing is, it's being creative and innovative and having a memorable experience for the right reasons. So a candidate kind of sticks out and they remember these things. And you always know when you've, join a business, you remember those interviews. It sticks in you for a long time for the wrong or the right reasons. I think, the key thing, I think, is how do you create an emotional connection with someone, specifically in a virtual world? How do you connect with the candidate and the hiring manager and the business and your corporate story? And I think the other thing we've started to really think differently about is how do we use our insightful metrics? So, for example, the good old personality questionnaires, and how relevant are they? Or data analytics, what kind of place do they have, and how do we use those in the sort of acquisition world moving forward? And I think you've got to really look at them with a different lens, and we've certainly looked at that. Our kind of talent acquisition metrics in a different way. I think those are key things around really being different and more agile.
More agile, fantastic. In terms, and you've touched on some of these already, but it'd be good to perhaps explore them a little bit. When you talk about this emotional connection through your employer brand, I think that's hugely important. How do you think you can do that? Are you finding ways that are working for you? And again, on the kind of innovation around data analytics, are the things that you're measuring now that perhaps you weren't measuring before?
Yeah, I think if I come back, your first question around connection, we've recruited something like 300 people over the last year, and I would say 98% of those people have been recruited in a virtual environment. So we've done things like, send products to candidates. Things like, our Baxters tartan notebooks, and also the quality of information that you're sending a candidate around the story, the narrative, and all of that. And also, I think meeting more people gets a real sense of the type of culture and the type of individuals, rather than just a hiring manager, HR. So I think there's some real unique ways of connecting someone to the business a little bit more effectively. But you should be doing that even in a normal world. It's how do you do that? How do you kind of create a need and a want? I want to be part of your business. In terms of I guess metrics and analytics, one thing that we are spending a lot more time on is, are there ways of predicting future performance? Is quite important. And I think the other thing is, what is the financial impact of a quality hire? Are we looking at the commercials behind hires and the impact of a good quality hire? So, and it's not just data for the sake of data, but it's insightful information that informs and tells you what you should be doing differently or what you should continue doing. I think is really what we're looking at.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. It's the application of the data that is crucial.
Yes.
So Clyde, what advice would you give to other senior HR and talent leaders to make sure their own knowledge is up to date when the old rule book no longer applies the way it did?
Yeah, I think that the first obvious one is about networking, finding, mining your networks, finding out what people are doing differently, learning from each other, I guess, is the first, forums. And I mean, this is a great example of what we're doing right now is sharing learning. I think is the other bit is around showing some humility, where you get things wrong, what hasn't worked, what has, we've tried and tested and it actually hasn't gone well. I think is something we should all consider, because I think we all learn more from our mistakes than anything else is the one area. Showcasing excellence like the Tiara Awards is a fantastic fantastic opportunity. It really is, really making you think about what are people doing out there. And I think that the best thing to do is learn from your candidates. So how we do that, we do a kind of a post, candidate interview where it's, we probably should do it for unsuccessful candidates as well, but we don't. And I think it's an opportunity. But what worked well, what didn't work well, what would have been better, what would you like more of, I think is really important. And I think the last thing is, I think it's about working with recruitment partners out there that are also doing the stuff that we're talking about right now, rather than your run-of-the-mill, we'll get your heads in, because that's really, really important. Most of us use partners, and they represent your business. So learning from them in terms of what other candidates are doing and getting guidance from them. So I think those are probably the key areas, Ken.
Fantastic. Yeah, I particularly like the recommendation around entering awards, which hopefully will be a great showcase. Clyde, that's been so interesting. I do think seriously the point around humility and learning from mistakes and things that haven't worked quite as well is incredibly important. And when a lot of our events where we have speakers talk about some projects and initiatives that haven't quite gone as well as they would like, they always seem to get a much higher level of empathy than than when everything seems to have gone amazingly. Listen, some really, really helpful and interesting content in there. Thank you so much. And I see you have my guilty secret over your left shoulder, which is a Frey Bentos steak and kidney pies.
Well, Ken, we could always add those into the prizes if you that would help.
Perhaps we should do that. Clyde, that's been amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Ken.